A lot of the companies we talk to understand the importance of content and even have the ideas of what content they need to create. But when it comes to the actual process of creation, they may not have the tools internally to get the job done. On today's episode, I want to share how you can use your best customers to actually create the content on your behalf that will then seed your entire content strategy. I want to go through that exact process of how to create that community and acquire these ambassadors on your company's behalf. Let's get into it. All right. So a big problem, a lot of the prospects, the customers that we talk to is, okay, we get it. We want to do content, but we don't necessarily have the executional talent internally. We know we have ideas. We know what the problems are. Like, we hear you on all that. But in terms of getting the assets created, we don't have a way to do that. So I want to share a story of one of our customers who has really exemplified how to build an ambassador program and a creator program within their community of customers and of their current audience that actually creates the content for them, and go through how they did that. So the client is a trucking company. They're competing in what is arguably the most difficult hiring market in history, right? Like right now, you may not know that if you're not in the industry, but you cannot hire truck drivers. It's impossible. Truck drivers are already very difficult to find, especially good ones that will commit to your company and do a good job and be trustworthy and also all those sorts of things. But right now, because of the wage gap and all these different reasons, they're just impossible to find. So this company, I've talked about them before because they're a great example of extending long form content into a bunch of different assets. But another thing that they've done is they've been able to recruit the top talent in their field, and as a result have enjoyed two of their most profitable years while the rest of their industry is kind of in disarray. And the way that they've been able to do that is they've taken drivers, they've taken people from their community and leveraged their stories into content that is, self-perpetuating in a way within their audience. Let me get into the specifics, and I think it'll make more sense. So the idea here is, we, from a high level, we used to call this UGC, user-generated content. And the idea was, you have a user base, you have an audience, you have a customer base, whatever. You want to get them to help your company create content. And there's a lot of reasons for this, not the least of which is it's instantly authentic because it's authentic to your customer base because they are your customer base, right? It's problem solving. They know what your customers' problems are facing. They know what your audience wants, and they're able to address it because they are a part of that group. And it's trustworthy. These people have innate trust with the audience because, once again, they're not part of your brand. They are a part of the audience, the base that you're serving. So there's a lot of implicit benefits to having your community help you create content. But how do we do it? Like, what's the practical steps to doing so? First of all, we talked about this when Nicole Warshauer was on the show a while back. But the first thing to do is to formalize and create a job description for this ambassadorship. And you might call it being a company ambassador. You might call it being, some type of influencer. You might call it just being a community member, a creator, whatever. But you need to formalize that internally and give it a title. Explain what the commitment is, what the hours expected are, what are the specific types of assets you want created through this relationship, and stipulate that in a job description, just like if you were hiring someone. Because the number one fault that people, the mistake that people make when they try to do something like this is just like, oh, you guys just make some stuff for us and we'll pay you for it, or we'll give you free swag. None of that. If you want what you put into something, a program like this is what you will get out of it. So if you want professional content you can use to represent your brand, you need to treat your ambassadors like professionals in both how you recruit them and how you communicate with them during the engagement. So formalize that job description. Second, advertise the job description within your existing community. The odds are, if you have a customer base of any size, someone has the skills in just, as part of either whether it be a hobby or a previous job they had or something, they have the skills to create content that is effective for the different platforms that your brand might be acting on. So advertise the opportunity within your existing audience and see, does anyone here who happens to be, for this company that I was talking about earlier, they have 800 drivers, right? So they just advertise within that 800 drivers. Anybody a YouTuber? Anybody, an Instagram creator or enjoy making content for those platforms? If so, let us know. We might have an opportunity with you. The third thing, and I kind of alluded to this before, but set very clear expectations on the volume of content that you want. Is it 1 post a week? Is it 10 posts a day? Is it somewhere in between? Like, that all needs to be defined. What is the timing? How often do you want to hear from these people? How often do you expect assets to be delivered? Do they need to be a part of any meetings or creative meetings or otherwise? Let them know about that. And what is the quality expectation? Again, this is where if you don't set and stipulate some of these things up front, then you're going to be upset on the back end when there's a hastily put together video of someone's too close up to their face and someone turns that in and it's unusable, right? So you need to really think through that and do that in a professional way. If you do though, right, then what you're going to get is you're going to get a library of, like I said before, authentic content from these creators that you can then sweat, is kind of the terms that we've used in the past, these assets for your own marketing funnels. So, you're going to be able to take this authentic content and you're going to be able to put it into podcasts, into YouTube videos. You're going to be able to obviously share it on social platforms, which is probably where it will be built for initially. And this can help a lot of you smaller companies who, like I said, have the ideas, have the know-how, know where the problem areas are, but can't necessarily execute on the design or the video or the audio or whatever. So, this is something that will bring you some low cost assets you can repurpose and further develop into campaigns. That trucking company I've talked about many times, they were able to take those assets, sweat them, use them, leverage them a bunch of different ways, and build a brand that is now looked to as an advocate in their space for the driver, which is a huge competitive advantage in a market where finding drivers is impossible, right? And they couldn't have foreseen that when they started doing it, but it just has worked out for them that way. You as well can build a brand around advocacy for your customer base by involving these ambassadors in what you're doing. Hope that's helpful. We'll see you tomorrow.